Okay, you guys. All right, so we're going to have an interesting conversation today. I am going to be talking to you about, when you are evolving spiritually, the challenges that actually occur when you do that. And what does that mean? And how do you go about it? How do you manage those situations? This is always an interesting conversation that gets brought up with some of my clients as they start to like get past some of the negative thoughts and that space that they get trapped in. When you have the runaway mind and your mind just goes, and you just can't seem to get past that. Well, when I typically what happens with me is a lot of my clients are always interested because they're like, oh my God, Michelle, you're so spiritual, you're so knowledgeable, you know how to manifest, you're a master manifester. I want to learn all that stuff. And what I do is I usually tell people, you know, the best way to learn how to do all that stuff is to clear out the junk in your life, to get your head on right. If you want to be successful in business, you have to have your head on right. If you want to be spiritual or evolve spiritually, you have to have your head on right. So, I wanted to kind of talk to you about like a lot of you guys that are in this group have, been clients of mine and or are former clients of mine on some level. And so I wanted to kind of talk to you a little bit about what happens when you are spiritually evolving. And a lot of you guys have kind of gotten to that point where you're starting to evolve spiritually and the challenges that are met when that happens. So, just because you evolve spiritually doesn't mean challenges go away. In fact, as you evolve spiritually, more challenges come up. Why is that? Because life has a way of testing you to see if you've learned that lesson. Now, what I've found is that that particular thing shows up a lot and it keeps on showing up. And it keeps on showing up. Why? Because it's testing you to see if your reaction is going to change. Are you still freaking out over this particular thing? Are you handling it differently? I had a situation that I'd like to share with you guys about something that happened to me. So, I've had a friend for many years, probably close to 20 years or more. And this person came into my life at a point when I was being a victim. I was playing the game of being a victim. And when this person came into my life, she was the perfect match for me because she was a victimizer. And she showed up by taunting me with the things that I wanted, which was spiritual knowledge. And I've always been like this huge seeker for that. I wanted that spiritual knowledge. And so she shows up in that way. And so I looked at her and admired her from that aspect because I didn't know any better because I was in a victim mindset. So when I would do something that would upset her, like not answer the phone call because I was busy doing something else, or go a whole 24 hours without responding to her text message, or just or not responding to a post that she put on Facebook. These were things that I wasn't really on Facebook very much 20 something years ago. And so she would have this hissy about it, like, oh my God, I posted this and you didn't, da da da, and so as you guys are showing up, I'm kind of talking to you about how I overcame a challenge and how it kept on showing up for me. And then we're going to talk about you and what and how that shows up in your life, okay? So, with this particular person, I was playing the role of a victim, and she kept on showing up in my life as the victimizer. So, and this would show up in many different ways. Like she would fly off the handle and get really upset. So, as a victim, what I did was I would get, oh God, oh, I'll change, and I just played that role of a victim. And then as I as time progressed, she would so I would, you know learn some kind of lesson from this, and then she'd disappear out of my life. And I was like, so my first reaction when she disappeared, oh, my neck is hurting. All of a sudden, probably talking about this. uh, so, anyways, so what would happen is that she would disappear out of my life, and then after she disappeared out of my life, years later, she would show up. Hi, Shelly Belly, I'm back. And she would show up, and she would show up in a way of, oh, I've got all this spiritual knowledge I'm going to show you, I'm going to give you, and I've forgiven you for all your mistakes and all your things that you've done that really pissed me off. You have a way of pissing me off, you know that, right? And so anyways, what would happen is years later she would show up and she would present the same challenges, but this time I would respond differently. And each time I would respond a little bit different because I would grow, I would learn. So the last time she showed up, she flied off the handle. Not the last time, but the time before last. She flew off the handle because I didn't set an alarm because she wanted to go somewhere at a certain time. And we ended up getting there on time. But somehow or another I got blamed for something. And she sat there screaming at me for about an hour and a half because I didn't set the alarm. And prior to doing that, I told her I didn't have an alarm, so she would have to set that alarm on her phone. Now, what I just assumed that was the case, and she flew off the handle. So there was an hour and a half of her screaming and yelling at me, and then when we ended up going to this place that she wanted to go, I asked her very specifically what time that she needed to leave by. And she told me, and we were home by that time. But apparently this pissed her off so much that she didn't call me for 10 years. So now, each time that she would pull these little shenanigans, flying off the handle, having a meltdown, each time I would react differently. As I grew, I learned how to react differently. That time, when she disappeared, I didn't call her back. I didn't email her. I didn't beg for her to be my friend again. I just allowed her to go. I went into acceptance. Okay? And then 10 years later, she shows up again. Hi, Shelly Belly. La, la, la. All excited. Told me she had this dream that she was supposed to reconnect with me and that she chose to be in my life. And I kind of went into this with eyes wide open going, okay. And I didn't see this from the perspective of a victim. And I didn't see this from the perspective of good riddance, get out of my life. I saw this as a perspective of it's showing up in my life for a reason. Now, I want you to really think about that because, like, when I'm working with my clients, I usually say, and some of you guys are my clients, you hear me say this, what's showing up for you this week? And I want you to really think about that. It showed up in my life for a reason. What reason did it show up? Well, I'm guessing that the universe was challenging me. God was challenging me. It's like, okay, you think you learned it. So let's try this again. So she shows up in my life. I'm like, okay, this is going to be a lesson. This is going to be a lesson. So I'm going to just sit back and let's just play this cool. So I come at her, total forgiveness, total acceptance, eyes wide open, looking at this going, okay, let's just see. And she wants to move to Houston because she wants to be next to me. She wants to go running and jogging with me every day. She wants all these things, all this stuff. So I'm like helping her find an apartment. I'm trying to help her find things and, helping her with this. She doesn't have a job. She doesn't have money coming in, but she's got a savings, from this other job that she had. So she thought that she could survive for about 6 to 8 months. I'm like, okay, so I call her, we talk. I tell her about what's going on in my life. We have some really good discussions. Everything seems to be going really well for a while. And then I suggested that, because she does these astrology readings, that, maybe what I could do would be to tack on an astrology reading to some of the stuff that's going, when I get clients. And So what I did was I suggested this and I said, look, just tell me how much you charge and I'll tack that onto the price, and they automatically get it. That way you make some money and it's an extra service I can provide. So she tells me how much she charges, and I said, okay. So here comes a new client. I tell her about this. She's like all in, wanting to do it. And I sent her a message and I said, hey, I just want to confirm that we're doing this because I have a client who's all in. And next thing I know, I get a phone call and she's yelling at me, screaming at me, flying off the handle. I can't do this like this, blah, blah, blah. Do you understand? Do you understand? And I'm like, I'm just trying to help you. I know that money is a tight thing, and I'm just trying to help you. If you would like me to help you, I can. Oh, well, we've got to keep the business separate. I said, okay, that's fine with me. You want to do it like that? What I can do is I can pass on your number to her and move it in your direction. Do you understand? Do you understand? I mean, she's like coming at me really hard, and I'm like, okay, I get it. I understand. Then I say to her, it's okay. This isn't about me. This is me trying to help you. And then I said to her, okay, what we can do is do it your way. And I'm being nice about this, I'm trying to be calm and keeping my calm. Whatever it is that you need, we can do it that way. I don't have to do it like this. We can do it like that. Well, we need to talk about this. And all of a sudden it flipped to her saying that she said to me, so you're not going to pass on clients to me? And I'm like, I never said that. So later on, she ends up ghosting me for a while. So I was like, oh God, here we go again. So I sent her a message and I said, I think that, we need to have a conversation, and that I tried calling you and you're not responding. So if this friendship has value to you, then please call me back when you have some time. Apparently that pissed her off. And so she calls me back and says, I'm fucking pissed off at you right now. And I'm like, okay, tell me why. And so as she's telling me this, I'm going, okay, I'm listening. And she said, do you understand? And I said, I totally understand. I support whatever decision you make. I was just trying to help you make some money. She said that I said to her, I don't need you. I said, I never said that. She took my words and twisted it. Okay. So what did I learn from this? Well, as she goes on this whole new other area and starts listing off things that I never said, taking things out of context, flying off the handle, having a straight up meltdown. And I just sat there for a second and I said, okay, I do not appreciate you taking my words and twisting them, taking things that I'm saying out of context, and constantly coming at me like I'm the enemy when I'm trying to help you. And then I sat back and I reflected on this and I said, Michelle, you have a choice. You have a choice. And I said, this isn't the right time. We're not in alignment right now. So I decided to let her go this time. So if you see the progression, first I was the victim. Then I was trying not to be the victim. Then I went into acceptance. And then I went into choice. Okay? The last phase of what I did was choice. It was, I get to choose what is in my life or what's not in my life. Do you understand? You get to choose. So when I'm talking to you about handling the challenges in your life that has to do with spiritual evolution, a lot of my clients are constantly battled with the challenges that come up. It's like, okay, I'm trying to get better, but all these people are not. And they're the ones that are the problem. I'm working on me, but nobody else is working on me. Their vibration brings me down. And what I say to that is, that's you not trying to grow from the experience. Okay? I openly welcome those challenges. And when a person shows up in your life with a challenge, that usually means that's something that you need to reflect on yourself. Okay, that's something you need to look internally. How is it showing up in your life? That is a reflection on what's going on with you. So when I started to change, everybody else around me started to change because they had to match the same vibration. So if people aren't changing around you, that means that there's something inside of you that you need to look at. You need to reflect on that and say, okay, why is this showing up? Not because you're wrong, not because you're so negative, not because of this, but because there's something you need to learn from that. Okay? Now, here's what I hear a lot, and I just had a conversation with one of my clients about this earlier, so this is what kind of sparked this whole thing. And I'm not going to get into deep woo-woo stuff right now, okay? This will probably be another video that we can talk, but I wanna just touch the surface here, okay? Why is something showing up in your life? Because you've chosen to evolve spiritually. So with that comes challenges, okay? How do you learn? You learn from challenges. And when you overcome the challenge, when you learn how to manage that particular aspect of yourself, remember, it's always about you. So when something shows up in your life, it's about you, because everybody in your life is a mirror of your own thoughts and your feelings and your own vibration. And these are lessons that you need to learn within yourself, because you can't change other people. You can only change yourself. And when you change yourself and how you react, it's like you're leveling up, and the only people that are going to be able to stay in your life is people that match that same vibration. So if you've got negative vibrations happening in your life, that usually means that's something within you that you need to work on. Okay? You may be a master at manifesting, or you may be a master at controlling your thoughts, but you still have some kind of negativity happening and showing up in your life. Why is that? Not because you've failed, not because you're not as good as you thought you were, but because it's the next level to leveling up. Why did this girl keep on showing up in my life? Because every time I leveled up, she would show up differently. Okay? Every time I leveled up, she would show up differently. And she would show up in a way that would challenge me in new ways. And each time I had to reflect on myself. And it wasn't so much that I did something wrong, like not set the alarm or communicate with her or something like that. It's not about what you did wrong. It's about what is your vibration. So I had a client ask me today. She said, I have this situation with this particular person in my life, and I've been avoiding it because I didn't know how to handle it. And I said to her, if you were to tune into the highest vibration of yourself, how would that aspect of you handle it? And then she gave me her thoughts on it, and I said, okay, then that's the way that you handle it. Now, if you were to ask me that question, my answer would have been different. Why? Because I reached that level, did that, done that. Now, what is the next level? The next level is choosing, right? So, as you move through things, as you raise your vibration, as you raise your consciousness, as you evolve spiritually, you're the highest level of self, you'll be able to see another level. So when I look at my highest level of self and I say, okay, my highest vibration is going to react this way, as I get in alignment with that and I stay continuous with it, then I'm going to see an even higher vibration. Okay? And that'll come to you each time. And then each time you move into that vibration, you're going to have challenges that are going to come up. Just because you get all spiritual and you get all like, oh, I'm on the manifesting train and I'm positive and I've got my head in check, doesn't mean that life's not going to throw challenges at you. I just realized that elephant's not balanced here. Huh. Okay, Move Mr. Elephant over. Okay. Um, Anyways, that doesn't mean that life's not going to throw you challenges. So what do you do? Okay. Well, what do you do when those situations happen? Well, the very first thing you need to do is you need to reflect as to why is it showing up in your life. Okay. So that's why I always ask my clients, what's showing up today? What is showing up today? What are the challenges in front of you? Well, look at those things and let's try to look at it from a new perspective and let's learn from it. Let's handle it differently. Because if you're handling it the same way, you're always going to get the same results, right? So that doesn't mean your vibration's changed. You know, if you have a sibling that you're constantly arguing with, well, maybe look at the sibling differently because all beings are conscious beings that are there in your life for a reason. What I hear from most people, it's everybody else is the problem. No, they're showing up in your life because they are a match vibrationally for you. And if they aren't a match, they're going to simply disappear like the girl did, or they're going to show up in your life as a match. Okay? If you shift, they're going to shift or they're going to disappear. Period. Okay? People will show up as a match. So just because somebody shows up, as a problem in your life doesn't mean that you're a problem. Okay? So don't take that wrong. What I'm saying is that that is something you haven't mastered yet and that you need to learn and grow from. So how can you learn and grow from that? Look at those aspects, okay? Really pay attention to that. Make sure that you're really reflecting internally. I mean, you may not know the answer, but you can meditate on it and you can sit in that and go, okay, what do I need to learn from this? What do I need to see from this? What is it, ask to get a dream about it. Write your dream down. Try to see if you can understand why it's showing up because everything in your life is a mirror of you. It's a mirror of you and what's happening in your life. So for a long time, a lot of my siblings and people in my life and their husbands and their kids were showing up like angry, lots of problems, all that kind of stuff. And here I was trying to raise my vibration, I'm like, these people, they're the problems. So I started stepping into a state of, I was learning how to step into a state of acceptance. I also was learning how to shift the vibration in the room, okay? And I would walk in, and my sister used to call me she called me the alchemist because I could walk in and I could change everything. I'd change everybody's mood. And so, and I can still do that. I'm really good at altering a person's state based on my vibration because I can expand my vibration into the room. It doesn't mean they change permanently. It just means that when I walk in, because I want to have this experience with them, I walk in and it becomes the experience that I want because I've entered into, trying to adjust something behind my pillow, because I've entered into a state of creation. So everything in my life is about how I want to create it. But sometimes those little obstacles show up differently. So I want to talk to you about that. So let me kind of finish telling you. So my niece, my sister, my sister's husband, my siblings, even my kids were showing up angry. And they were always angry at something. And not necessarily at me, just, things. So I had to reflect on that. What is it that I need to learn from this? Was it anger inside of me that I was suppressing? Or was there a lesson about acceptance? What I ended up learning it was a lesson about acceptance. And when I changed my vibration, when I sat in the state of allowing people just to be, and I'm they're over here yelling and screaming, and I'm just sitting here, and they're like, why are you not impacted by this? And I'm like, it's like watching a TV show. They're it's better than Jersey Shore's drama here. This is happening. It's interesting. And they're like, Okay. Well, what's ironic is as I shifted into that state of acceptance, everybody else started shifting too. My niece started becoming more spiritual. She started following this new path, and she's really trying to learn, and she stopped being so angry. My brother-in-law stopped drinking. He's been going to AA, and he's showing up, and he's really trying to be a good partner. My mom becomes more loving and more, you know, like this ball of love and compassion. My father started to become more enlightened. It was like all these things started happening, and I'm sitting here and I'm like, wow, you know, all these people are changing around me. Why? Because when I move to another level, either people shift or they disappear. The girl disappeared, had another friend disappear, but other people started changing. Okay? Because it's almost like moving up in a game. It's like this person's still in level 1, you move to level 2, so they'll stay in level 1 until they can match your vibration. Once they do, they'll pop into level 2. Okay? And so that kind of stuff happens. Now when they do show up in level 2 and there's a little weird thing happening, you've got to ask yourself, is this an obstacle that's showing up for a reason? Okay, it's the new challenge in the game. Okay, so what's the new challenge in this game? Everybody's got to learn it. Everybody's in the same vibration. We're all trying to figure it all out. Well, a new challenge came up for me, and it seems like everybody's trying to figure it out. Okay, everybody's at the same vibration. My nieces, my mom is, my family members, we're all like kind of in that space. We're in the space of acceptance. Everybody is. We are trying to understand something that's going on in our family by a family member that's experiencing what some people may think is psychosis. Okay, and so we're like sitting here trying to figure this out. Like, all of us are challenged by the game. Everybody's a match, but this challenge came up. Does it mean I failed? Does it mean I'm not spiritual? Does it mean that that's the problem, not me? I need to exit? No, my next level is understanding that challenge and overcoming it. So that's what I'm trying to explain to you guys, is that if you want to level up spiritually, if you're really truly wanting to grow, you've got to look at the challenges that come into your life as, what do I need to learn from this? What is it inside of me that needs to shift? Okay? And as you start to understand that, as you start to realize that everything's showing up in your life because that's your next lesson, that's your next challenge. So you can't change other people, but you can definitely change yourself. And each time that you grow from this, if it's showing up repeatedly, that means that that's either you need to level up. That means, okay, so you've handled it like this, and we're going to show up again and see if you can go to the next level. We're going to show up again and see if you can go to that next level, and then the next level. Typically, when the lesson is over, it just stops coming around. So if you want to grow spiritually, stop looking at everything in your life that challenges you as painful, as hurt, as other people are destroying me. Look at it like a video game, and you've got to overcome it. Look for the clues within yourself, and then you'll win. This is Michelle Thompson. I hope you enjoyed this. Make sure that you say something in the comments about who you are, and what you got out of this video. And if you want to learn more, make some comments and let me know what it is that you would like to learn. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.